we will continue with whatever we were discussing last class. So today I'll try to draw a few things. Before that, let us just recall whatever we had discussed yesterday, and then we'll proceed further. So if you recall, we had discussed this slide. Yes. Just a moment, please. Yeah. So if you recall, with the considered this thing, like actual isometric projection, we'll have all these edges for the cube. Of course, we had discussed these are all equal, but these are of reduced length in the isometric projection. While if we keep the same dimensions as that of original um, figure, then what we'll get will be isometric view. It will be identical in shape. Only thing is the overall size of this isometric view will be more as compared to the isometric projection. Then what else we have discussed? We have discussed that these edges like this one, or let me hover it over here. Yeah, so this one or this one or this one or this one, all these actually are termed as the isometric lines. In particular, we refer this 1, 2, and this 3 as isometric axis, and anything parallel to these is referred as isometric line. So this is an isometric line, this is an isometric line. So these dimensions or dimensional parameters, whatever are available, can actually be measured along these lines, right? But if it is, say, something is not exactly along these lines, any, say, straight dimension, right, is not along these, then we cannot directly measure with the given uh, dimensional unit and then mark it. So what we actually need to do is, then we look at the corners. So this is what we had seen in this slide. So a rectangle goes just like that, we discussed. But triangle, like we have this two inclined lines. So what we do is we encompass it in a rectangle, right? As such, it is not a rectangle, it is a triangle, but we encompass it in a rectangle, and then now this rectangle is reproduced. Now 1 and 2 can be marked here and here because these are along a isometric line, but this 3 is not so. So what we do is, away from B, how much is the distance of 3? This thing is along the isometric line. So using this 3 is marked over here. And now once this 3 is located, then we can join 1 and 2, 1 with the 3, 2 with the 3. So we complete the triangle. So when it is not, the distance is not along the isometric lines, then we locate the corners, and then once the corners are located, we can join the corners to form a line. So this is what we will be following, right? For the top view configuration, same thing. Then for the pentagon, again we encompass it within a square, and the corners are all located on the sides of the square. And since the sides of the square are again isometric lines, so we obtain a rhombus for this square, and then on that rhombus, sides of the rhombus, we locate all the corners. Once the corners are located, we can join them all to obtain the pentagon. The same for the top view configuration. So this is what we had discussed yesterday. Now, following the same path, now today, first of all, I try to draw, say, a front view and a top view, and then again following the same process, whatever we have done here, this actually is for a two-dimensional figure. We'll extend the same for the three-dimensional figure. Okay. So let me try to draw it. So see, here I tried to draw a front view and a top view. Okay. So this is the front view. I can use higher thickness maybe. Yeah, so this is the front view. This is the top view. And of course, you will have all the dimensions. I have not marked the dimensions here. So you can try to visualize that what kind of 3D object this is. Now, if we have to draw the isometric view, so then first of all, as we discussed earlier also, we'll have to consider that, okay, where and how it will be located. So if we go back to our slides, so here in this slide, so in this one we had considered that for this particular case, if you just a moment. Yeah. So like here we have this front view, this top view, okay, for the cube. So suppose if we have to draw it an isometric view, so for top view, you see what is happening. This we have got all these four sides. So one side is going along a 30-degree inclined line. If we draw a horizontal line, so one line is 30-degree inclined. This is also 30-degree inclined, right? And the remaining two are also parallel to these initial ones. Okay. If we consider the front view, either this can be front view, this face, or this face can be front view. If this is face view, then this will be for the side view. For the cube, of course, all are same. So for when we are drawing this, then what is happening? If you consider this side, this will represent the height. So this side goes as the vertical side over here. Okay. And this side, this goes along this 30-degree line, right? So this is what we will be following. So for front view part, one side will go at 30 degrees, height will go in the vertical direction. Okay. Then this will work as the depth for the this front view thing. So this depth will draw along this 30 degrees. Okay. So like this, we'll have to proceed. That is one thing. And also we'll try to locate isometric lines all the time, right? These allow us to draw it further. So now first of all, say this location, right? Say I mark it as O. You don't need to mark and draw, right? This is just for the reference for now since we are learning it. Okay. So I mark this O. Then if I try to draw this O, mark this O over here. Okay. So this length, right? This length part, this thing will go along one 30-degree inclined line, and this height part, this will go along one vertical line. Okay. This depth part will go along another 30-degree inclined line. Okay. So that is what I'll try to do here. So I draw one inclined line. Of course, it is a tentative or say unscaled diagram. So there might be a few errors. Please excuse me for those. So this, right? This thing what we were talking about is marked along this. Okay. Now this one will go as a vertical height. So this I'll mark here. Okay. And then this thing, this will go as the depth. So this will be marked along this. Okay. So this is the overall configuration we'll be having. Now what we need to do is we need to have, so here this height what I have marked, this will actually correspond to this complete height. Okay, and for obtaining the complete diagram, we can as well encompass this figure into a rectangle. So I can extend it here and here, and the same I do here. So it is more or less like a rectangle. Okay, and the same thing we'll try to reproduce at this side. So I am trying to, first of all, corresponding to this front view, right? Corresponding to this complete front view, I am considering I'll have the frontal face, right? So that face we are actually having here, what I have drawn now, right? So this thing will represent that frontal face. Okay. Then this depth part is over here. So this is the depth part, right? So this also again will obtain in the form of a face. So obtained here. Okay. Then the same will be for the, oh sorry, I have drawn it a bit smaller. Sorry. It will be like this. The same thing now for the top face. One is along 30-degree line. So this will be 130-degree line. This will be other 30-degree line. So one top face length here, depth here. These will be along this one and along this one. Okay. So this is the tentative top surface. So like this we get, but this is for the rectangular box, which is corresponding to this, including these extensions. Now we'll mark the exact dimensions onto it. Okay, so this height here, right? This height here, what we have, this we can mark on this vertical line. Okay. So this height is then marked up to this point. Okay, up to this point. Then we have this dimension, right? So this is parallel to the isometric line, of course. Okay, so parallel to this bottom line, this will be marked. The same will be true for the other side also, that is corresponding to this. Okay, so that you mark height over here up to this point. Then again, this thing is along a isometric line, so you draw it along a isometric line. Okay, so these two are marked now. Okay, this one and this one are already marked. Then if we draw this vertical, this vertical, and this top part, then it will be, the front face will be complete. So from here you could go along a vertical line. From here also you go along a vertical line. Okay, and then this top part is complete. Inclined. So this front surface like this we obtain. Then let us go towards side. Again, this part of course is continuous as we see from here and corresponding to this point. This part as such is continuous. Then again we mark the height. Okay. Now corresponding to this location, no, this point, we have this. We'll have one complete edge. That edge will mark by joining these two endpoints. Okay. Then again, the way we had considered this edge over here, the same is at the back side also. One is here, other is at this back side also. So that again we need to mark. So for that we'll move parallel along this, right? With the distance you will mark, that will mark one endpoint, and corresponding to this we'll have one edge, right? Corresponding to this we'll have one edge. With that edge we can obtain by joining these two. Okay, again you move in the vertical direction from here, the top location marked, and the edge corresponding to this point over here that we get by joining these two. Okay, then again this much distance from here to here we have to mark, that will mark onto this. Okay, and thereafter again we'll have an edge corresponding to this location or this. In top view here, in front view this point. Okay, corresponding to these you will get an edge over here. Fine. So this is what we get, and of course now some part will be hidden and some part up to some extent will be visible. So corresponding to this point, right, this point, there is an edge which will continue until the back face. So we are actually supposed to have that edge also. So you have to draw a line parallel to this isometric line, right, or this isometric line. We have to draw that edge, and then where will it terminate? For that we'll have to have a vertical line here. I guess this one is little more inclined than required. We'll go somewhere like this. So from here you'll have a vertical line down. Okay, onto this height can be measured to locate a corner point. Okay, and up to there an edge from this location will go. And this horizontal line from here. So like this we complete it. Okay, hidden part we have not shown, and also this upper part of the box, this is no more needed. This we use for construction. After completing the construction we can erase this. So you will get the isometric view like this. Okay, there are a bit error in this construction because of pre-end drawing. Excuse me for that. So I hope this makes it all a bit clear. One more thing I would like to draw, and that is with the consideration that here at least all the lines if we consider in this diagram, right, whichever lines suppose, right, either this or this or this, okay, even all these lines also, these are all actually isometric lines. These are parallel to any one of the isometric axes. We can try to have one more example where it is not so.
Sir, I have a doubt in this.
Yeah, please, please.
Sir, that hidden part, that hidden portion, a dotted line should not be shown.
Yeah, in isometric views, it is customary that the hidden parts we don't show. Only in some special case where, say, it is a little more intricate or something, then only it might be drawn. Otherwise, we skip the hidden lines. Only the visible part. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
So I'll just draw one more diagram, and then we'll have a look at the one or two examples on the slide. Yeah, so now we had the case of a front view and top view. Now I'll draw a front view and a side view. Okay, again, I mean, two views are sufficient to draw this. So that kind of diagram I am choosing. So suppose we have two views like this. So say this is the front view and this is the side view. Okay, let me put some dimensions also. So say this is 60. This is say 20. Here suppose this is 30. These are approximate dimensions, again I have considered randomly. Right? Let the height be 60. Suppose this is 100. Just some tentative dimensions I am giving. Okay, suppose this kind of configuration we have. Now we have to say again, draw this isometric view for this. So here now you see one inclined line at least we are having, right? This one inclined line. So this is not along any isometric line. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to look at this corner on the isometric line, and then we'll have to complete the drawing. Sorry. So again, I'll actually make it in a rectangle form. So this thing then will become our front rectangle, and then for side view we'll have this square. Okay. again say if I mark this as O, so this will be our central point. Okay, so suppose here is O, I'll have to draw a 30-degree inclined line to mark this 100 length, and then another line in the opposite direction to mark the what do you call this 60 length. So for the bottom part, I can try to complete this. Okay, then we have to mark the height along this vertical line, same way here. I guess somewhere here so again we make this box like this, and now what will we do is we'll again go ahead with the marking these isometric lines. So first of all we can have this height. This part, of course, it's throughout from beginning from point O up to the end, right? That is from here until the end. So this is complete. The same is for this part also, from one end until the last. So this as such is completely from end to end. Okay. Then I mark this height over here, this thing. It's up to here. Okay. Then this distance we can take up. So along this parallel to this line, I'll draw from here. Okay. This marked. Then one way is that on this front face we try to complete it. So now we can mark this height. So again it is from the bottom until the top part. Okay. Then we can mark this 20. Oh, sorry.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, from the point O, the height is given of the
Yeah, here
wings.
this side view is giving us the height.
Okay, sir.
Right, so we mark this, and then these we can join. So that means we had discussed this is not an isometric line, but since this corner is located, this corner is located, now we could join these two. So then it will be marked onto this. Okay. Now the same thing for this this face we can do, this face. So here again I'll have to mark this distance, right? And then from here we'll have to move parallel to this. Okay, we look at this endpoint. Then corresponding to this line, here also we'll have the same thing, right? So that we can mark now. Right? So now this corner and this corner, these again will form an edge that is corresponding to this point. We'll have an edge here. That edge we could mark. Okay. Then at the back end, we have to replicate similar to whatever is this face, this frontal face. The same thing will be replicated at the back end here also. So then next we do that thing. So this to make dark, that is one thing. Then along this line I have to mark this distance again. It will be marked. We can have an edge corresponding to this point, right? So that edge has to be marked. Okay. Then again we have this point available, this point available. So we have to join them. This again is not a isometric line, so directly we cannot draw. We'll have to locate this end point here and end point here, so as to be able to draw this. Okay. So this completes this diagram. And you could remove all this. Okay. So we have it like this. Yeah. So I guess it is clear to everyone. I have one or two more such examples on the slide. So those we either how much time do we have? Yeah, we have time. So at least one of those I'll just click through, and then one I'll upload so you can go through it. And one thing more I wanted to discuss was the case of circle. So we considered so far all these diagrams where actually we are drawing straight lines mostly. Now, if we have a circular part, maybe a circular hole, or say a cylindrical curvature in any part, so those how we draw. So that also I would like to discuss. So let us get back to the slide. These two, whatever I have discussed, no, those are also on the slides. You can have a look. Okay, this is what we had discussed, right? So this is drawn over here, and this one also we discussed. So this is also drawn over here. So you can refer it later on. Now let us consider this one also quickly, and then I'll discuss that circle case. So here again we have the three views: front view, top view, and a left side view. Okay. Now for this case, if we have to draw, so first of all we have to, of course, we have to think about what kind of shape it is. So you can very well, just a moment. So you can very well understand that what we have. You see, if we consider this surface, this is corresponding to this line in the front view. If you consider this surface, it will be corresponding to this line in the front view, right? So that means here we are supposed to have two steps, and the third step reaches up to the top portion. Okay, and the same is more clear with the left side view also. Here this is first step, this is second step, this reaches to the top. From the left, this is one clean surface, exactly same. It will be over here, right? Likewise, in the front view, we have this one clean surface. It will be corresponding to this edge. So just like the previous case, we can begin considering this point. This will go along one 30-degree line. This will be the height. Then this edge will go along another 30-degree inclined line. So one 30-degree inclined line, along this we'll have this part. Okay, this 30-degree inclined line will have this part. Height will go vertically above from this O. So these two sides, and this third is the height. Then if we complete just like the previous case, the front face, here it is complete, so that is marked over here. Then we'll have this step marked right here. Also, then we can complete this top surface. It will again be rectangular. It will be completed like this. Okay. So the front face, first of all, these steps, whatever are visible in the front view, this one, right? This thing is replicated on this face, on this one. Okay. Then the left part. So again here, this line tells us we have a L kind of shape over here like this and this. So this line is marked. The top surface, so this L shape in the left side view, and the same will be on the top surface. It's completed. Then this thing is to be replicated again from here like this. These are all isometric lines, you see, right? All marked like this, and the shape. Okay, so you can go through it afterwards also. I guess it is clear to most of the people, right? Let us consider this next case, that is of the circle. So circle, as you can as such visualize, circle will actually become an ellipse when we consider the isometric projection. You can adopt any of the methods like we did earlier, no? To draw the ellipse. In the projection of solids, you have drawn it already. So we can have multiple number of say points marked on the circumference. Then we can mark it on the relevant isometric diagram, right? And then have a freehand curve. This is of course always possible, and that will give actually very much accurate shape. But of course, it will be a little cumbersome to draw it. We have one approximate method, and which is actually very easy, and it results into very good looking diagram. And that method is referred as a four center method. So that is what we'll discuss in this slide. So what actually is done is that this circle is first of all encompassed into a square. So you can see a small thin line which is drawn around the circle, and now it is enclosed within a square. So after doing this, it will become little easier for us. And the reason you know already, that we know that if we have a square, the square will look like a rhombus when we consider isometric projection. That is what actually we had begun our discussion. So now this square, what we have drawn around this circle, it will look like a rhombus. So that makes it easy to replicate. We can easily draw a rhombus with the dimensions of the sides of this square. That will of course be equal to, the side of the square will of course be equal to the diameter of the circle. Now there could be two configurations, right? Like it could be either top view configuration, or else it could be a front view configuration. That is, the circle is appearing in the front view or in the top view. Accordingly, we'll actually have to draw a suitable ellipse. So let us see how we can proceed with using this four center method. So here we have a what do you call, just a moment. Let me change this. So here we have this rhombus, you see. Okay, corresponding to this square, we have the rhombus. This rhombus is corresponding to the top view configuration. If it is front view or side view, it will change. One of the sides will become vertical. Here, one 30 degree, another also 30 degree. So this is a configuration corresponding to top. Now, what we do is we mark certain divisions onto this. So one point, as you can see, is marked over here at the middle of this edge. One marked over here, one marked here, one marked here. So these are the midpoints of these edges which have been marked. A, B, C, D. Next, corner point is marked here, you can see, and likewise the opposite here. Okay. Then what is done? From the corner point, one of the midpoints is joined, then the other. From this, again the same thing repeated. Let us have a look at it again. First of all, noteworthy thing, this rhombus has got this corner where there is an obtuse angle, here also obtuse. Here you have acute angle, here also acute angle. So the corner with the obtuse angle is chosen here and as well as here. Obtuse angle, obtuse angle. From here, what we are doing, this corner is being joined with this midpoint and this midpoint. Okay. From this corner, this midpoint joined, and from this corner, this midpoint. So that is what we are doing. Okay. Then once this much is done, then we locate four centers in this. Yeah. So we have one corner point here, one corner point here, one this intersection point here, and one intersection point here. These 4 points actually act as the centers. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have got 4 centers. So that's why it is a 4 center method. With these 4 centers, now what we can do is we need to draw circular arcs. Okay. So from this one will be taken as center, and radius from 1 up to A or 1 up to B, right? And then an arc will be drawn from A to B, right? Then likewise 2 as a center, arc is to be drawn from D to C. So 2C or 2D will act as the radius. Okay. Next, with 3 as the center, radius will be 3 to A or 3 to D. Okay, and this arc will be drawn. From 4, again 4 to B or 4 to C will be the radius, and the arc is drawn. And we obtain a nice elliptical shape. This is an approximate construction. but this is very easy and it looks very good also. Of course, as see what we are doing, we are drawing an ellipse, but actually what we are doing is we are obtaining it simply by the circular arcs. So effectively what we have done, we have drawn 4 circular arcs, right? And we have achieved the ellipse. Okay. So in this diagram, what we have seen, this ellipse is drawn for the top view configuration. Similar thing can happen for the front view configuration. We can go through it. So now the rhombus corresponding to the square within which the circle is enclosed looks like this. We have one vertical edge, another vertical edge, 30-degree inclined, 30-degree inclined edge. Okay. Same thing, whatever we did earlier can be done. We have to mark one center point. Oh, sorry, not exactly center point. Midpoint here, midpoint here. Okay, midpoint on this edge, midpoint on this edge. Then choose the obtuse angle corner. This is acute angle. We don't choose this. We choose this one. Join with this. This joined with this. Let us see the stepwise thing. 4 midpoints marked, right? A, B, C, D. Then the corner points where the obtuse angle is occurring. Okay. Then it's joined with A and B. This one. The other one is joined with C and D. That is the other 2 point. And now we can look at the 4 centers. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And rest of the process is same. We have to draw the circular arms with 1 as the center, radius as 1 to A or 1 to B. The first circular arc drawn, 2 as the center, radius equal to 2C or 2D. This is drawn. Then 3 as the center, 3A or 3D as the radius. This arc drawn, and with 4C or 4B acting as the radius. This arc is drawn. So this 4 center method we need to adopt for drawing the ellipse in the isometric view. So I hope this is clear to everyone. There actually is one more method, but I'm just skipping that. I mean, it's a bit more cumbersome. You can see in the book if you like to, right? This is easier, but of course it is approximate method. A better ellipse will be drawn when you choose more points on the circumference and locate those points using the isometric lines. Getting the point? Like if you choose, say, 1 point here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, like this, suppose you choose many points. Then suppose, just a moment. Suppose I choose a point over here. Okay. Then I can always locate it with one isometric line, another isometric line, right? So this point can be located with one parallel line, one parallel line. It will be located here. Same way here. So like this, we can locate so many points on the circumference, symmetrically distributed, locate them within this rhombus, and then draw a nice curve that will be actually more accurate as compared to this method. But of course, it makes it difficult to draw those, right? But I guess, I mean, what I'm trying to say, that is the thing. We locate number of points, right? And these then can be located. 1 point here, 1 point here, 1 point here, 1 here. Like this, we will be locating, and then we have to draw it freehand. So that is another method which I skipped. So these points eventually will come like this. So you actually, this approximate method here, the curvature is a bit more than needed. No, otherwise actual one might go a little beyond this. That's what actually will be happening. But anyhow, this method we can adopt and continue with. So shall we stop over here, or if we have any questions, then we can talk about.
Sir, how did we decide the dimensions of the rhombus?
No, that's what I said. No, like dimensions are simply when we draw this thing. No, what do you call this? This is square when we are drawing. No, So this square is drawn so as to enclose this circle. So obviously what will happen, this side of this square will become equal to the diameter of this circle. I hope I have cleared the thing. Huh?
Sir, for making that ellipse one, so how did we know the angle, what angles are we have to take and the length of the side?
No, see, this thing remains same. By this thing, what I mean is this square what we have here, that becomes a rhombus here. Okay. In the slide, you might see that dimensions are little bit changed or something. But in general, if we consider, this square will look like a rhombus here. So the dimensions will be same. If it is isometric projection, then the reduced lengths or whatever we have to take. But corresponding to this length, you will draw these edges at 30 degree, at 30 degree, then these two further parallel. This 30 degree, this one vertical, and then. Is this fine?
Yes, sir. And sir,
Yeah.
one more thing that in the previous questions that we did in the starting of the class, so do we usually take the front view to be at the right side?
No. You have to consider what is available. Maybe I'll try to go there.
So there is no convention like this.
No. Let me go to this. Yeah. So suppose this one you see. So effectively, what actually is happening is if this one is the front view. If this is the front view, so obviously this is the left side view. I mean, I did not mention, but it will be left side view, isn't it? Do you agree to this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we have actually always got only two sides, no? This 30 degree line, this 30 degree line. So if front view and left side view is visible, then this will be the front view, this will be left side view. Suppose we have right side view and the front view, then here will be the front view, here will be the right side view. Got the point?
Yes, so we will take it according to our convenience.
According
First.
to our diagram, whatever diagram we have, and there what kind of features we have.
Okay.
Sometimes suppose in this diagram, other one if we consider this one, this has got only a front view and top view, right? Now suppose if we have such a situation that only front view and top view is there, right? And then there we might have a choice that whether front view is to be this oh sorry, front view is to be this side or this side. Suppose we can choose it, right? Exactly, we don't have front view and side view given, so it is up to us to choose. Then for such a case, what should be done is we should try to have that part which has got more features to be visible, right? Like whichever part, I mean here it is symmetrical, so whichever you choose, either this is front view or this is front view, you will have the same thing. I mean it's not going to affect the final isometric view. But if you have such a diagram where it's not exactly symmetrical like this, it has different features, but only the front view and top view is sufficient to describe it. So you will have only two views, and you will have to choose that which left side view or right side view, which one is to be drawn. That is to be based on this thing, that which has got features which if visible will be better, right? So those you will have to keep visible. So suppose if left side view could give more features, then you will choose a front view here and left side view here. Suppose the right side view could give more features, so front view here, right side view here, and part which is having less or say not so important or say less features, that will become hidden, right? Like that you will have to decide.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so if there are no more questions, then I could stop here.